Today is April 23rd, 2025, and it's a big day here in northeastern Indiana because we are celebrating the 50th flight. Now, in case you don't know what that is, about 4 times a year, an airplane leaves Fort Wayne and flies to Washington, D.C. full of veterans. They are escorted all around Washington, D.C. for the entire day to see all the monuments dedicated to them. It's our way, America's way of saying thank you. Well, the Northeast Indiana honor flight came about back in 2009. A lady whose name escapes me, and I apologize for that, she says, hey, we got to honor our veterans. Other cities were doing it. The closest one at that time, I think, was Louisville. So she said, Northeast, we need to have something Northeast. And she started calling folks up and got the word around, and they realized that we had a facility that could handle that. It's the 122nd TAC Fighter Wing over there at Fort Wayne International. They have the facilities, they have the ramp, they have everything. And they can handle the entire thing. Well, the first person they worked with to head the organization was a retired officer from the 122nd. His name was Bob Meyer, Colonel Bob Meyer, gentleman who I've known with and flown with because he was my co-pilot in a number of missions. Well, Bobby was retired, and he said, okay, I'll take it over, and he was running it. And he and his wife ran it the first few years and turned it in from like 2 flights. Now, they average 4 flights a year, and they're always filled up. The one today is the 50th. 2 years ago, they had a flight with only Purple Heart veterans, big ones. But keep in mind something, all of these flights are done. Doesn't cost anybody anything, doesn't cost the veterans nothing. It's all done for and paid for by donations. So if you've got a nice company up there and you want to donate something to a good cause, this is a really good cause. I mean a very good cause. On this 50th flight, they took 84 veterans. 2 from the Korean War, 14 from the Cold War, 67 Vietnam War, and 1 from the Lebanon Grenada situation. 84 veterans. They had Bronze Star folks in there. They had Purple Heart folks in there. They're all going to D.C. See the monuments to them. Full day. One of the biggest things they get to go see is the laying of a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknowns. They get to go to places like the Vietnam War, the wall. That personally for me is the biggest because I have friends on that wall. People I knew in high school, people I flew with in the Air Force. Well, I'm glad folks get to see that. They deserve that because these monuments are to them. And frankly, I got to thank the folks like Bob Meyer and the people who are now running it because they're doing a bang-up job. 4 flights a year. And thus far, they've flown 3,817 veterans have been flown to D.C. It didn't cost the veterans nothing. It was all donated by people like you. So, you want to do something good? See about donating. Now, you know someone who's a veteran who should be going to Washington, D.C. and seeing this stuff? Here's the website they can apply on. It's hfnei.org. HF means honor flight. NEI, Northeastern Indiana.org, hfnei.org. There's also the national organization. It's called honorflight.org. These are national organizations, so it runs nationwide. Fort Wayne's got a pretty good chapter, folks, a very good chapter. And we're able to do a whole lot. And I want to thank the men and women of the 122nd Tactical Fighter Wing for all the hours and time they put in doing this 4 times a year, and they do it. And they have all the people who come out there and volunteer. Now tonight, when the veterans return home about 8 o'clock at Fort Wayne International, maybe you want to be there. Greet them, say hi, wave a flag. It's a big thing. They're being honored. Because if you were a veteran back in the early 1970s at the end of the Vietnam War, you were not liked. Trust me, you were not liked a lot. And this is a way of saying paying back to some of those people who maybe have memories of that time when they were not exactly liked or respected in the United States. It's different today. If you wear a hat that shows you're a veteran, people come up to you and go, thank you for your service. Back in 1970, they didn't do that. Trust me. So, 50th flight, that's a big honor. Congratulations to all the folks out there at the 122nd. Congratulations to the honor flight. And congratulations to all the folks who spent the time and effort putting in a lot of time to do this and make it something special. Keep it going, folks. It's really that important. And you deserve as much gratitude as anybody could possibly give you. Honor flight, respecting those who served.